take a few moments to do a brief report on the Fenimore issue. Following the Fenimore issue, we are going to open up to the general public comment session, and we are going to first hear comments only on Fenimore. This is being done so that Chairman Rowley can continue to be recused. We will then continue with public comments on anything else. So this is going to be reversed of how we normally do it. We've been doing Fenimore at the end. Tonight we're going to do it first. So for those of you who are here for Fenimore only, you get a pass to get out a little bit early.
What happened in the executive session?
We do not have anything to report out in the executive session right now.
Thank you.
On a Fenimore, prepared a little statement. As you're aware, we've been receiving a large number of public comments regarding the Fenimore tract in Roxbury Township. While our council has no jurisdiction over the ongoing remediation and closure occurring on the site, we are charged with oversight of water resources in the Highlands region. Upon considering the most recent comments that we've received, and also upon consultation with several members of the council, I've reached the conclusion that it would be in the best interest of the entire council if we form a committee to review and study any and all water quality issues associated with the Fenimore property. This committee will be titled the Fenimore Water Quality Committee, and it will be chaired by the Honorable Michael Dressler. Serving with Judge Dressler will be Carl Richko and Michael Francis, and I've consulted with all of them and they've agreed to this high-paid position. I'd also like to recommend to the council that we send a letter to Commissioner Martin regarding our concern for water quality at the Fenimore site, and I've asked our executive director to prepare a letter, and I have a copy of that in draft form that I will distribute to all of you right now. And I just wanted to say that I appreciate Michael, Carl, and Michael agreed to take on this extra workload, and I believe that all of us on the council look forward to the results of the work that they're going to be reviewing. So I will pass this out very quickly to you.
I just state something about being on the committee. When I spoke to Kurt, said that we would be taking information from the DEP. But I think, I think it would also be important for the committee to look at any information that the affected residents would give us if there's any water samples that they have had analyzed through a state-certified lab. I think we should look at that also. We should just limit it just to the DEP because I think there's a mistrust out there.
Carl, that was anticipated when the committee was being talked about, being formed, and we want to make sure that we get all the data, good data. We don't want just, we did this and these are the results. We want certified results, but we want certified results from everybody and find out what the problem is, and then address it from there.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would just like to say that this is a committee I would have liked to have served on, and once again, I've been cut out of being put on any committees. And I object to that.
Okay. Any other comment from council members? If there's none, again, the draft letter's out there. If you have any feedback, please provide it to me, and then we'll send it out to Commissioner Martin. We're now going to move into the public comment session. Again, is there anybody here to comment strictly on Fenimore tonight? At least one. So new tonight, I'm glad to introduce to you a time clock. And we've created this time clock so that there can be no dispute as to timekeeping. And the way it's going to work is when you introduce your name, the clock's not going to run. But as soon as you start to talk about the deliberative nature of your presentation, the clock's going to hit. It's going to flash some friendly colors as you approach the limit of your 3 minutes, and at the culmination of the 3 minutes, you're going to get drowned out by some music that's been selected that will all be surprised. No music tonight, so you will not be drowned out by music. There was a suggestion that we should do something similar to the Academy Awards.
This is in honor of the, this is in honor of the NCAA tournament, so you have 5 seconds left to shoot the last basket.
But in all fairness, we try to be very fair in providing equal time to everybody. We want to hear what you have to share with us, but we can't give somebody 7 and somebody 5, and we try to be generous in allowing some people a little bit of space, but if we're not, we don't treat everybody the same, we can really be subject to criticism, and fairly so. So that's why we're doing this. Hank, is this going to kind of get your 3 minutes?
No, I won't even get out of my chair. But I think what you people should consider while you're putting the 3-minute chart up there is we come here once a month. We have 3 minutes. We're the ones that are losing the stuff, and so are the other people. I think you should put another minute on here. It would be, if you had 12 meetings, that's 12 more minutes in a year. That's not unrealistic.
Duly noted, and we'll continue to take that into
I
consideration.
appreciate that, because we also went to what you wanted, because originally these meetings were at 5 o'clock, you changed them to 4. And at that time, I suggested, okay, then change it to 3 to a 4 there. Fair swap,
Duly noted.
public interest.
Duly noted. And we're not going to get into a debate about this tonight. Very quickly.
Are we still allowed to give our minutes to somebody else?
No, we've never done that. That's not something. It's 3 minutes each individual. You got something that's longer, break it up between people, but it's.
This is not Congress.
Right.
Thank God.
Okay, so again, we're going to commence with that tonight, and right now, Roxbury only, please, for the Fenimore landfill, and then we will continue with all other public comment. So I think you wanted to speak. Sure. Yep, you're first. Again.
Start the timer yet.
No, you're good. You're good. You're the first one.
We make everything right before you start.
Can I say my question and then give my name? And then I'm Bob Schultz. I'm from REACT, which is the Roxbury and Bryan Rental Action Coalition. First, I wanted to thank the council for putting together this commission. We have certainly lots of results of water that we will provide you. Do we send these via email? Do you want me to bring them in?
I think speak to the executive director at the end of the meeting.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that. I did have a question. With the redevelopment waiver of the Fenimore landfill, is that a transferable waiver? Meaning if somebody else takes over the landfill, does that waiver go with them? Or can that waiver be sold to somebody else or given to somebody else? Because I'm not understanding of those rules.
What I would suggest is speak to council at the end of the meeting,
Okay.
and we can make sure you have that correct answer.
And just to let you know that you might not have heard, this really hasn't been in the news yet. The appellate court ruled some time ago that that the DEP illegally took over the landfill in June of 2013 from the owner, SEP. The Supreme Court ruled on that yesterday and upheld that decision. What that means for the future of litigation on that landfill, I'm not really sure. I'm not a lawyer. But I did want to let the council know this because it is not broad news as of yet. It does still smell up there. The residents still complain. There are plenty of people still getting sick up there. We will be running air tests, water tests, all independent, using certified labs. We will gladly provide the council those results, whether good or bad. We hope they come out good, but we know what we're smelling, so there's still something in the air up there. And we're still very concerned of what's going to happen now, what's happening, in the water, in the ground, in the air, and what's going to happen to that site in the future. So we would still really like that redevelopment waiver rescinded, so nothing else can happen up there. And we still ask for that from the council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fenimore only. Okay.
Good afternoon, my name is Dave Pfeiffer. I'm the Highlands Project Director for the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions. I want to compliment you on forming the committee to look into water issues at Fenimore. A couple of words of advice from somebody who's been there and done that and sampled around landfills. Don't necessarily require that data that you're reviewing non-certified lab. There are lots of citizen scientists out there who collect water quality data, and you just need to interpret it correctly. If you have 20 tests from a non-certified lab and they're all showing the same thing, there's probably a good chance that it's there. Another thing to consider is not just chemical data, but rather biological data from the stream. These kinds of data are much more diagnostic of long-term impairments. And the Raritan Headwaters Association has compiled years' worth of data from that stream, which I believe would meet their requirements. And then finally, the simple idea that there's no problem because the standard isn't violated isn't exactly the way these things work. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of potential chemicals that are in those landfills. And those chemicals are unlikely to even have standards. So you need to be able to judge what the water quality is, even in the absence of a standard being broken. So if you're going to file an enforcement action, yes, you want to see that a standard is being broken. But if you're going to use these data to create a monitoring program or request additional monitoring from the department, it's important to realize that there's a lot of stuff that could be there that we don't have standards for. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Bill Kibler, Raritan Headwaters Association. Dave, thank you for a fabulous introduction. Just real quickly, not last month, in January when I was here, we submitted the slides that had information on the data from our stream monitoring in Roxbury and some other locations. I noted, I did see that it's on the record. Just for the record, those samples do go to a state and federally an EPA certified laboratory. Our data that comes from that program is certified by DEP as Tier D data. I got a fourth grader at home. If he came home with a D, he'd be in really big trouble in the house. In DEP world, for some reason, D is as good as it gets. Tier D data is what DEP needs in order to be able to use the data for regulatory purposes and for enforcement purposes. So our data meets that highest standard. In fact, DEP uses our data as well as some other folks' data in their mandatory reporting under Section 303D of the Federal Clean Water Act. And if there are any questions as you move along in this process, if you need more information on the data sheet, what's on the slides is summary data. We have the actual data sheets in detail at the office if you need them. Thanks. I'm awful tempted to stand here and wait and see what the colors look like.
You'll see soon enough.
I'll see it eventually.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak on Roxbury effect water issues? Dave?
My name is David Chope. I have a farm in Lebanon Township. And when it comes to collecting data, it would behoove you, because of the potential for litigation stemming from collecting samples, that the chain of custody be entirely with certified and qualified personnel. In other words, don't have somebody unqualified dunk into a stream or a puddle and then take it to a lab. Have the chain of custody certified so that there is no question as to its validity. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last call for, yes. You know, if I know your name, you've been here before, right?
Wilma Fry, New Jersey Conservation. I congratulate you on setting up the committee. I think it's great. However, I do would urge you to reconsider appointing Tracy to this committee. She has very high expertise in water quality issues, and I think she would make a great addition, and somebody who wants to serve and has the time and energy to do so for free is somebody you need to take advantage of. Thank you.
Thank you. Final last call for Roxbury. Okay, we are going to close the Fenimore portion. Chairman Riley's going to be rejoining us, and we can certainly call up the first person for any other public comments.